Hey Johar, welcome back to my channel too, Multi-Fandom Fanatic. As you can see, I changed my my YouTube name, because I'm into multi-fandoms, as you can see from my various videos. So, as I think I mentioned in my last video where I was talking about Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, I have several Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated related videos coming its way. So most of what I publish, besides my edits, for right now probably gonna be Mystery Incorporated related. I am now season 2, episode 4. Um and I'm doing a lot of research for one specific video I planned, but a little bit for a couple of the others. But this one I don't really need videos for, so I'm going ahead and do this one to get it out of the way so that I can get into my other videos. So that I have planned once I finish the series. So yeah. Um this is top 10 Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated characters. These are just my opinions, and this was a lot harder than I thought it would be, just because I don't know, I wasn't sure where I stood with some of these characters, and rewatching does help. Um, so yeah, so these are just my personal opinions, and I will explain why I like them or why they're on this part of the list. So yeah. Number 10, I have Marcy. So, season 1, I don't like Marcy. I don't like season 1 Marcy. She was always meant, she was basically just there to be for them to make fun of, kind of, and then also to, be kind of like Velma's antagonist because the two of them did not get along because they were both the smartest girls in school and they both wanted to be the smartest, so they were always fighting because of that. But then season 2 comes and you find out the two of them have actually gotten really close while they both work for Mr. E. It doesn't help that in season 1 she was one of the people that had to get unmasked because she was a manticore. But then season 2 she's out of jail and she's really close to Velma, but they're also working for Mr. E. Kind of a, and it's like you see how close they actually get, and you actually see a different side to Marcy considering she actually has a slightly bigger role being close to one of the main characters. um and you can tell, I mean, it kind of leaves the show off believing that they're together, especially with the comment when Velma runs off with Marcy saying, that's my girl. um and I was watching, what was it, episode 2, I think, or maybe it was episode 3. One of those episodes I was just watching because I just watched the first 3 episodes of season 2. And it was episode 3, yeah, because it was with the clown baby part 2 of that. But Shaggy and Scooby were doing their thing. Fred was all distracted by Daphne and everything, and then Belle was like, "No one cared about Mystery anymore." And then Marcy gets closer. She's like, "I care. You still got me." And then yeah, I kind of shipped them. I don't remember if I shipped them when I was younger. Um, but I definitely like them nowadays. And I'm not the biggest Velma fan, but I do like their relationship. So, and Marcy did grow on me, and I did like later on in the second season when um they it was they're getting closer to the unraveling the entire mystery, only for the person that is tries to take the planet's fairest this person thereafter turned out to be Marcy working for Mr. E still, and Velma realized it and didn't rat her out or anything, but Marcy ended up giving her the planet's fairest disc and kind of went on the run, if I remember correctly, because Mr. E wasn't going to be happy with her betraying them and siding with Velma and Mr. Ink, but her her love for Velma came first, and yeah, so Marcy did grow on me, and she did, ultimately sacrifice herself for Mr. Ink. She legit was murdered. She was legit murdered, and that has to be. There's like 3 official murders, like 3 official deaths, but the, they were all murdered. Angel's probably like the one that's like, I wouldn't say not. I'm not saying like not as sad because that's probably the saddest because I do love Angel, but the least frightening for a child, I guess you could say, just because uh like all three deaths were off camera, but still like as machines, like Pericles said he didn't want to talk, then it showed outside the house and him screaming, and he was being basically being clawed to death. But then there's Marcy's, which this is a kid show, and they legit killed her off by um she helped the gang get away, and then you see a bunch of machine guns facing her, and then you pan back to the group making their way, and then you hear the guns shoot, like several of them, like all like, and it's like, wow, this is a kid show, right? Like that got pretty dark. But number 9, I have Velma. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Velma fan. I do love Velma and Marcy's relationship in season 2, but and I do like Velma more here than I do in most Scooby Doo adaptations. Um, she's a lot sassier and snarky, which a lot of her lines can be really funny. Like some of the things she says, like when Shaggy's made fun about someone eating their brains, and then uh Velma was like, I don't know what she said, but it's basically saying like, does he have brains? Or that's not what she said, but it's basically a snarky remark to his comment. And there was a similar one when with not Shaggy, Scooby and Fred in season 2, and yeah, um, there was just several moments where she's just beyond snarky and sarcastic, and a lot of her lines do make me laugh. But I don't know, I was just never the biggest Velma fan. Like she always had this like I'm smarter than you and I know it vibe, and it always got on my nerves a little bit. And she was just kind of meh. I mean, I wouldn't say I disliked her, but I definitely wouldn't say I liked her all that much. I mean, I do like her here. Obviously, she's in the top 10 because I do prefer this Velma than a lot of the Velmas in the past. But she's still definitely not. Does she does that for me? She definitely doesn't deserve to be higher than number 9. She was originally gonna be number 10, but then when I was trying to figure out more of the list, I was like, I want Marcy to be on the list because she did grow on me. And I realized that I do like Velma a bit more than Marcy, and Marcy could have been Velma honestly if I liked her character in season 1, but because she was kind of horrible in season 1, and I didn't like her character, that it made her be lower on the list. Number 8, I have Mr. E. Surprisingly enough, I was surprised I ended up putting Mr. E on the list. But thinking through the entire series, even though I like how he's this like morally gray character, like he's the most morally gray character, just because everyone else was always flat out made to be good or evil except for him. I mean, Pericles was made. You knew pretty soon from his introduction that he was evil, and then um, uh Angel I guess could seem morally gray, but I don't really consider her morally gray just because even though she was helping Mr. E at times, it was she always made her intentions clear that she wanted to protect the kids, so that always put her on the good side in my book. And then with Fred's parents, I guess they could be actually I don't consider them morally gray just because they even though they were pretending to be good, they were never actually good. So um, that's why I consider Mr. E the only actual morally great character because he did help them. I mean, I guess that you could kind of put Fred's dad as morally gray because he did truly, he was obviously doing some evil things, but he did help them in the end, and he did truly care about Fred. So, but still, Mr. E was definitely so morally gray. Like he was helping them so much at the beginning. No one knew if they could trust him. As season 1 got as it got further into season 1, they were more on the side of not trusting him. Especially since there was that one episode near the end. I think it was last episode or episode before last, one of the two. It's like one of the last episodes of season 1 where he sent Alice May to try to kill them to hopefully bring out Professor Pericles. But he also had done a lot of good things, but again, it was all kind of like selfish because it's not like he actually wanted to help. He wanted them to uncover this mystery because the closer they got, the closer he could get, and then he could beat them in the end. But then there was and but then in season 2. I loved his arc in season 2 because at the beginning of season 2 he still seems so evil, working with Pericles and Fred, not Fred. Why did I say Fred? Brad and Judy, and he seemed downright evil at that point. But then as season 2 got further in, you could see that Pericles, Brad, and Judy were the really evil ones, and that he didn't even want to do this anymore, especially after Angel died. That's when you really start to notice it because he truly did love her. I mean, he acted like he didn't anymore, but he truly did love her. And he missed her, and he was sad that she had to die for what they were trying to do. And I think that kind of snapped him out of what the heck he was planning, and you could see with every scene he was in, the more realization was clicking, and the more he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, look at everything it cost me my best friend, cost me my other friends, cost me the love of my life, and he just was done. And then his last stand, he was murdered too, so there was actually more because he was murdered, so there were more deaths. But I guess Cassidy, aka Angel, um Marcy and Ed were kind of the main deaths, but I also I don't think it was ever confirmed, but that one guy from that manor that was underground, from the Darrow family. I don't remember his first name, but it was from the Darrow family. That one guy, I'm pretty sure he died because I don't see how he could have survived, and he never came back, and it was never mentioned again. So I'm pretty sure he died. Plus, Brad and Judy had died at the very end, and a lot of people had died before they were able to save everyone. But yeah, he ended up saving the kids, sacrificing himself, basically dying to save them. So he deserves some merit, and that's why I call him morally great, because he did a lot of evil things, but he did some good things too, especially in his last act. So yeah, and I liked his overall arc. Like, I liked how was the he was like the one that really got everyone into this mystery in the first place. He was helping them at first, but then turned out to be more evil than they realized. Um, Only to be get kind of on the good side again, and I just liked his arc. He was a fun character. Not to mention when the show first starts, he's literally just a voice. Like, you don't even know who he is, what he really looks like, his identity. He's just mystery, and it has this whole mysteries and an ominous thing about him, and I really liked his arc. So, number 7, I have Sheriff Stone. I liked I like Sheriff Stone. He is something else. He was making me laugh at the beginning of season 2 because, like, in the first episode, Crybaby Clown was like, you can either do this or get rid of Mr. Ink, or whatever, trying to get rid of them so he can keep his reign or whatever. And then he was like, sounds like a good deal to me, because he was never really all that fan of Mr. Ink, and it was hilarious. But he's just so sarcastic, and some of his comments make me laugh. Like, he's just so against them for like no reason at all, and it's just. But at the same time, he helps them sometimes when it comes down to it, because even though he may not be their biggest fan, he still cares about the town and stuff. So, and then number 6, I have Mayor Nettles. I was surprised she was this high, especially since she was only on season 2 and she wasn't the biggest role. I feel like she actually has a decent sized role with her being the mayor and being and getting ending up with the sheriff. But I still think, but I like her, and I'm definitely. I mean, I was surprised she made a list at all, let alone this high. The reason why I put her this high is because, like, the entire series, like, the adults didn't like what they did, especially the sheriff and the parents, and the mayor. But the mayor is also Fred's dad. And I I and but as soon as she was introduced, she did everything she could to reach out to everyone, bring them all back to Crystal Cove, and have them help stop Crybaby Clown. And she was always very helpful to them as they needed it. Was always on their side. Was always ready to defend them and help them and give them whatever resource they needed. She even made them kind of official, like, law enforcement. I don't want to say law enforcers, but like, she even gave them a room in City Hall and stuff for their planning and stuff. So she was really on their side, and they didn't have many adults who was ever willing to help that much, help at all, let alone that much. I mean, yeah, she has the resources being the mayor, so it's more easy, but still, she could have been against him like Fred's dad, first dad was, and yeah, but So she was always very helpful, and I liked her because of it. So that was number six. So we're on the top five. Number five is Professor Pericles. I like Professor Pericles. He's basically supposed to be the main big bad besides the evil entity, since that doesn't really come into play until the very end. But he's basically the big bad. He had helped them in the past, like at I almost said at Mr. E, but it was different because Mr. E helped him a lot more, and he also like didn't let his true intentions show and for quite a while, and then he also did have his redeeming quality at the end. But Professor Pericles, like he was very like when you first meet him, he was literally locked up because he was supposed to be this extremely dangerous of parrot, whatever. But he came, but then he escaped, and and then that one episode with Aphrodite, I think that was his next episode he was in. He ended up helping Scooby save his friends, and then they were able to save the entire town. But at the end of the episode, it was revealed that he was the one. So it's like it's different from Mr. E, who was helping them after someone was trying to, destroy the town or whatever they were trying to do. He would help them with clues or whatever. But you find out Professor Pericles had sent the recipe that Aphrodite had used to put everyone under the spell, sort of thing. Um, and so he did that to distract everybody and make it seem like he was helping Scooby when in reality he was trying to get his own ingredients for his own thing he was trying to do. So like he started this all just to distract him so that he can get what he needed. So that is a bit different than Mr. E because he never actually started this chain of events. He just helped afterwards, even if he did have his own agenda a lot of the time. So that makes Perez perfectly worse. Plus, he was evil, and he never really seemed to feel sorry for anything he was doing. And was feeling and never had a redeeming quality. So, but yeah, he's a fun character. I like watching him. He's intelligent, Velma intelligent, and he is very menacing and cunning and willing to do whatever it takes. Obviously, he went through that entire Aphrodite ruse just to get a few things he needed for something else. So, number four, I have as a package deal Shaggy and Scooby because they kind of go together. Um, they were never one of my favorite characters, and I'm surprised I ended up putting them this high. Um, but they are funny, and I do love their bond, and I don't really have that much to say about them. I probably shouldn't even put them this high because they've never been one of my favorites. But I like them. I've always liked them more than Velma though. But I do still like them, and obviously I put them this high. But they are enjoyable and fun to watch, and their reactions and like how they get scared and stuff are fun. It can be funny. So yeah. And then what else? Uh, I'm on number three now. I have Angel. I love Angel's character, aka Cassidy Williams, one of the original members of Mystery Incorporated, which is figured out. She, at the beginning of this, like I said, before Mayor Nettles, basically no adult would ever help them. Um, and then at the beginning of in the first season, at the very beginning of the show, you meet Angel. In the very first episode, she owns the radio station, and the gang goes there trying to find Fred after he blamed himself for their teacher getting cocooned, I guess, because they involved him in the mystery and he kind of got cocooned. So um so Fred was upset and decided to go there where Angel was, and then the gang knew he would go there. So right off the bat, you can see how close the gang is with Angel, considering Angel's the only adult willing to help them or encourage them with their mystery solving. Of course, you find out why, but she's never had a secret agenda. Like her only secret agenda was ever she only ever had a secret agenda when she was working with the bad guys, but she was only but that secret agenda was to help these kids. They were always her first priority, which she mentions more than once. But then you find out she's Cassidy Williams. Velma finds out first, and um, then it's revealed to the rest of the gang. And after that, they don't exactly trust her, which is kind of understandable. Like she was lying to them all this time. Like she knew more. Like she would help them, and like there's hints to her being Cassidy Williams and stuff. Like the time she gave them um Cassidy Williams' journal and claimed it was Mr. E who dropped it off, but it didn't have a signature E that it always that all of his packages or letters or whatever has. And so there are definitely hints along the way, and she was trying to help, but I guess she was afraid to say who she really was because um, to her this all started with her and her friends, so she didn't want to tell them who she really was. But um, and then season two they still don't trust her. Um, and then like I said, and previously in this video, she did die. She sacrificed herself to make sure everyone else could get away, and then they realized that she truly meant everything she said, and that she was really sorry, and that but it was too late, and they were all sad that she died because they did still care about her whether they realized it or not, because they were just that angry that she lied to them all this time, especially since she was the only adult at the time they felt like they could truly trust and rely on, and they felt like she betrayed them, rightfully so. But she's also awesome. I love the scenes when she kicks butt. You see that more so in season two before she dies in season one. But I absolutely love her. She's just awesome. Um, Number two, I have Fred. I love this version of Fred. He's just so obsessed with traps and mystery solving, and like he's just the most oblivious boy ever. Like he's so oblivious to Daphne's flirting at the beginning, and I love jealous Fred. I've said that so many times, but he acted jealous like whenever he realized his feelings for Daphne or when the two of them were broken up, and he's just clearly jealous of Daphne with whoever she's like hanging out with, and it's just he's just so funny, but he's just such a sweetheart, so pure and innocent. Like he's just so oblivious. Like I can't say that enough. He's oblivious as heck. But I think it's a boy thing. At least on the show, it's a boy thing. Like Shaggy could be pretty oblivious at times too, but not as far as Fred was. But I really enjoyed Fred's character. He always makes me laugh and stuff, and he he's just fun, and his tr- obsession with traps can be fun, and I love Fred. And then number one, I have Daphne. Daphne has always been my favorite. Um, I love her in the live action version. Of course, Sarah Michelle Gellar is playing her, and she's obviously gonna be awesome at that. But I love this version of Daphne too because um I mean, at first in the first episode, it did seem they were kind of making her the uh, um damsel in distress. Like other Scooby Doo versions, they kind of made her the one they did see, pretty one who messed up traps and stuff. But here she has so much more of a personality. Honestly, every character has so much more of a personality. They're all so much more three-dimensional. Like everyone at previous Scooby Doo's, except for previously animated Scooby Doo's, not the live action because I love those movies. But they made them all like have this one trait and that defined them the entire time. Like that was who they were. But here they made them so much more three-dimensional. They make mistakes. They screw up. They lie. They whatever, like Velma lied to the gang by not telling them about Angel and then not telling them that she was working with Mr. E, and Daphne left the gang for a little bit when the gang first came back together after being split up. She didn't want to be a part of it because she was still hurting. And it just made them so much more three-dimensional. Like Daphne was still like this rich pop maybe not popular because none of them are really popular around, but like rich, pretty girl, but she also becomes so much more independent, and they all these characters even have character developments. But uh Fred he yeah, he can be oblivious and have an obsession with trash, but he can also be deep at times. Like he learns to be deep. He learns to get more in his emotions. A few, and later in the series, and Shaggy and Scooby, yeah, they Scooby showed some backbone in season one, like toward near the end of season one, started showing more backbone. But Shaggy near the end of season two showed how strong he can be. And, and Velma, yeah, she's the smart girl, but she is so much more than that as well. And she even has a little breakdown when she realizes that all the supernatural things are real, and the characters just feel so much more real and three dimensional. It's like they don't have this one defining trait, and that's all they're worth. Like, and I just love it. And Daphne, first episode did seem like she was kind of a damsel in distress, needed to be saving law, but as the series grows, she becomes her own person outside of Fred, and I feel like them breaking up at the end of season one was good, even though I do love them. They are my favorite ship on the show. There's not that many ships, but still, I love them. But I, but Daphne, I feel like the breakup was good for them. First of all, Fred was going through a lot, like some serious things. He was going through a lot, so he needed the break. He needed to get away from everyone from Crystal Cove. He needed to find himself after the discovery they just made. Um, but Daphne, I feel like she needed to just less. It was less obvious. Like she needed to learn how to, like from the very beginning, it was obvious that she had feelings for Fred, and Fred still had feelings for her early on. He just didn't realize it until that episode with the Hex Girls. Um, but there were signs earlier that he had feelings for, like the crab episode. Um, but Daphne, she just needed to figure out who she was without Fred or without the gang. Honestly, she needed to figure out who she was and realize that this is what she wants, that to be part of this gang and everything. And she needed to figure out things for herself. And learn to be more independent and figure out who she is. Um and I loved her arc in season two, especially since her and Fred were broken up for a good portion of season two. Because she realized that she wanted to be just friends because she still had some self discovery she needed to make before she could be with Fred. Um, and I absolutely love that they gave that they let their characters have these discoveries and figure out who they are, and they let them grow as people and let the relationship of the gang and it grow, and it was just really beautiful. And we don't really see that much in Scooby Doo. Like they're just so one dimensional, but these characters are so two dimensional, and I love it. So yeah, that is my list. Please like and subscribe and comment who your favorite Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated characters are. I'll love to chat with you below in the comments. Until next time.